Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out I Do Work Here Lady. Story 1. You might add me to a future novel, yes please. I Do Work Here, Lady. This is from 2009 to 2010, but still pleases me. Used to cashier at a major retail store, whose worldwide employee count shames every singular standing army, or so I'm told. Shrugs. On the evening in question, I was running the tobacco aisle register. For fun, I enjoyed reading the attitude shirts customers wore in, and would from time to time comment on them without warning. Ah, the confused looks some people would give me for that bit of fun. The shirt, careful, or I'll put you in my next novel. I read the shirt, while continuing to ring and pack her order. I look into her face, a perhaps slightly puzzled expression on my face. Are you smiling? She agrees. I am. Now, I'm getting excited. Are you? Somehow, with only those two words, we were still in complete sync on what we were saying. Again she says, I am. Turns out that in my little corner of the world, we have at least one local international best-selling fiction writer, whose current, still going on for the next several years, and it's 2022, series was doing so well that book number 3 in the series, Mind, came out in hardback. Happy for her, of course, but for myself. Admitted I was waiting for it in paperback, so they'd all be in the same sort of book. Told me it had just come out in paperback, had me bouncing. Chatted about her books, about a certain choice she'd made once before, and why she'd done something different in book 1 of this series. I pointed out that book number 2 of the certain choice duology would have been hard to write with the character she'd killed off staying dead, and she did find a decent reason to my mind for his return. As for the something in the first book of this series, people die. Having this character who'd had so many bad things go wrong in their life, finally getting a chance to make things go well, be killed? Didn't like that it happened, but it happened for a purpose. Liking a character won't mean they stay alive. The conversation wandered from there, but I did tell her to feel free to use me in a future novel if she liked. She did have a walk-in role for a cashier of said retail giant, but I can't say I could see myself in it. Grins. Story 2. This is my job, you fool. I do work here, lady. I just discovered this sub, and I have to share one of the dumbest experiences I had working as a security guard during COVID. I was assigned to Sam's Club right at the peak of everything, and it was as bad as you'd expect. I lived in a very conservative area at the time and everyone was acting like a baby over mask enforcement, but that wasn't the issue in this case. Basically, I had stepped off my post to use the restroom, and as I was leaving this dude came in with a ton of clothes, walking right by me, in an obvious security uniform, and a huge sign that says no merchandise beyond this point. So, with this being my job, I naturally said, "Sir, you cannot bring merchandise in the restroom." This dude seriously turns back to me and says, "You know, why don't you go get a job and stop harassing me?" I then point to my badge and the security logo on my jacket, and reply, "This literally is my job." He continues arguing, claiming he needs a dressing room and all that. The store never had them to begin with, but especially during COVID would not allow you to try things on. The entitlement was unreal. Anyway, simple story, but it has always stuck with me how absurdly stupid it is to tell a security guard to get a job in response to being called out for trying to take merchandise into a bathroom stall. What do you think security is for, bro? Story 3. Blue shirt vs customized shirt. I do work here, lady. I finally have a Reddit-worthy story for both r/IDoWorkHereLady and r/IDoWorkHereLady. I went to an electronics store, where the employees wear blue shirts, to purchase new headphones and to ask a question about my new laptop that I bought a month ago. When I get to the laptop section, I only saw one person there. They were wearing a blue shirt and looking at the displays, so naturally, I figured they were an employee. Nope. The lady politely made me aware of my mistake when she pointed to the logo on her shirt. The logo was of the local tech college. I apologized. Though I did ask if she understood why I would have mistaken her for an employee. An actual employee then showed up to help the other customer, so I didn't get an answer. On my way to the checkout, I saw a sign that told customers to purchase all items at the entrance point where someone directs people to where they need to go. Unfortunately, the guy there was discussing lunch breaks with another employee, so I waited. That's when a guy came up and asked if he could help me. He wore a black shirt with a custom print design, not the typical blue shirt, so naturally, I asked if he worked there. Yes, he did. He was kind to help me purchase my items and answer my laptop question. I went from mistaking a customer in the employee colors to meeting an employee who wasn't wearing the blue-colored shirt. Story 4. Yes, I do indeed work here. I do work here, lady. So I work for an arts and crafts store. Uniform mostly is just a red vest with the company's name on front and back with a name tag. I get on average I think about 1 to 3 people asking me if I work here. I'm just someone who likes to wear a red vest decorated with pins and standing near the registers for the past hour trying to figure out which candy I want. And for some reason I have a name tag for said place. Story 5. Yes, I'm the teacher. I do work here, lady. This happened about 2 months ago, but I just thought to post this here. I, 27 and B, am a freshman English teacher. For whatever reason, I look young for my age, though I'd argue not high school age, and between that and my style of dress, I'm often confused for a student by adults who don't know me and student aides. Since I'm at a new school this year, it happens a significant amount. The funniest instance of this confusion, though, was when we were testing a few months ago. I was assigned to proctor, which is just doing nothing but watching the kids take a test to make sure they aren't cheating. One of our admin, Ms. A, who I had emailed numerous times for a variety of reasons, comes in, looks around, and leaves. I shrug it off, thinking she was just checking to see how many students were still testing, and go back to the most boring task ever. A few minutes later, the door opens and another admin, Ms. B, pops her head in. She looks around, makes eye contact with me, and signals for me to step into the hall. I do so and see Ms. A standing there. Ms. B looks at me and asks, "Have you ever met Ms. A before?" Confused, I respond, "Not officially, though I have emailed her a few times." Ms. B nods and turns to Ms. A and motions to me like she's Vanna White. "Ms. A, this is Ms. Azeroth." She is, in fact, a teacher. Ms. A looks so embarrassed. Come to find out, when Ms. A first stopped in, she thought I was a student and ran to Ms. B freaking out about how there was no teacher in the room proctoring the test, a huge no-no. Ms. B, who had confused me for a student at the beginning of the year, knew immediately what happened. We all laughed about it, and I told Ms. A that it was okay since it happens all the time, and we went back to our testing duties. No drama, I know, but still a good chuckle. Story 6. If I don't cut the line you won't eat. I do work here, lady. Disclaimers: on mobile, English is a second language, not in the US. I just received the forms for this year's food festival and I was reminded of what happened last year. After the first quarantine, the mayor in my city decided to organize a food festival in August. Because it was a success, it has become an annual event. I've taken part on both of them and planning to take part this year also. While most participants go with tried and true handheld, to a degree, recipes, I use it to try new things, that maybe update my menu. Anyway, to the story. As a crew, we had the experience of the previous year of what about to expect. I had gone with one tweak of a standing recipe I had, pulled pork sandwiches, and one new one. The new one was a sandwich with smoked sausage, grilled onions, peppers and eggplant and a feta cheese sauce. Since the opening hours for the festival were 11 o'clock to 2300 hours, we planned on having a 3-man crew, 2 cooks, 1 apprentice, on site with enough food to cover the rush hour of lunch and restock when the crew changed, at 1700 hours. If they needed anything, they would give us a call and we would bring it from the shop. We were about 500 yards away. That fateful August day, we received a call from the crew around 1300 hours that they were running low on vegetables and cheese sauce. Apparently, a cruise ship had anchored outside of the city's port and had debarked most of their passengers for 12 hours in the city, and most of them hit the food festival. So I grab a portable fridge, load it with veggies and sauce and head to stand. Having a pass, I move fast through the entrance, one entrance and one official exit for both staff and visitors, but I catch some glares. As I stepped inside the food court, I noticed that almost every stand had a big line in front of them. As I move past our line to reach the stand's door, I hear people shouting, "Hey! Where are going? And get back in line!" I'm almost at the door, when someone grabs my shoulder, which for various reasons connected to my past, is not a good move. I turn around to see a gray-headed older man, dressed in classic tourist attire, light yellow shirt, khaki shorts, white socks, and sandals and a hat. "Tourist, still holding my shoulder, you can't cut the line like this. People are waiting." "Me, first, remove your hand. Second, I need to cut the line." "Tourist, no. You need to go back in line." At that point, one of my cooks is almost hanging over the counter, waiting for the ingredients, and I'm starting to lose my temper, but I give another try. "Me, I need to go in there to G." Tourist, now red in the face and shouting, "No. You need to get back in line and wait for your food." Young people these days. Mumbling. Well, that was it for trying. Time for my inner Neanderthal. Me, forcibly removing his hand from my shoulder. "Me not cut line, you no eat. Gee. He looks at me shocked, when finally my cook shouted, "Hey boss! Can I have the stuff now?" I handed him the fridge and told him not to sell to that guy. My cook's reply, "I know better that to feed wild animals." Story 7. No, you cannot get my digits. I do work here, lady. I graduated college early and started teaching high school when I had just turned 21. On the first day, as we were instructed to do, I was standing in my classroom doorway helping monitor the halls between classes. A 19-year-old senior spotted me leaning against my door frame, and made his way over to me, full swagger, charm mode fully engaged. His winning line was, "Hey girl, let me get your digits." I said, "Sure." 34. He looked confused and said, 34? I said, "Yeah," and pointed to my classroom's room number. "I'm Ms. My name, the music teacher." "That's my classroom, room 34. Go to class before I mark you tardy." It was an epic jaw-dropper. The other students around busted out laughing and made a scene as only high schoolers can about the sick burn. Needless to say, word spread fast, "Don't mess with the new music teacher, she's got jokes." Story 8. I'm not the repairman, am I? I do work here, lady. In my teens I got a part-time job at a store. This store was a franchise of a national chain, something like Sears. I was the first male, and for a few years only, employee at the store. All female wore long, to the ankle, teal dust jackets. Men had a short, above the knee, dark blue. I often got mistaken for a repairman or janitor. I walked around the store doing all kind of tasks. Shelving, ordering, bakery, inventory, tills, but also repair and heavier/dirtier duties. One time I had to make a shelf at each cash register to lay bags on. I went into the register, crouch under the till and screw brackets and place the shelf. No biggie. At one till a colleague was cashing customers out and I was laying down between her legs with my upper body in between the footboard and the register itself. As I was done I tapped on her foot so she could move a little backwards and I could get up. Imagine being a customer and you see a teen boy rising from between the legs of a sitting teen girl wearing a long dust jacket with his face towards her. The sound of the little cordless screwdriver a few minutes earlier could be confused for something else too. I do work here, lady, laughing face. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.